And we are live. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and happy Halloween. This is the final installment of Spook Week. Thank God. This has been a long week, but no, we appreciate you guys. Obviously, I'm kidding. We have a great show for you tonight. We did start a couple of minutes early because we drew some names out earlier for some of the prizes. We told you we were going to do. Linda actually did the drawing, and I did all the T-shirts for from Lost Cryptids, the CDs from John Adams, the hoodie. I'm going to go through all that anyway and let you guys know who won what. And then we'll draw for the bigger prizes, obviously, here live. With me, as always, my lovely co-host and producer of the show, Miss Daniela Aiolo. How are you tonight, dear?
I'm good, thank you. Getting a bit tired now, ready for the night off.
Oh yeah, it's like I said, it has been a long week for us. To me, it's kind of stressful, and I don't know why. It shouldn't be, because I don't do anything but show up here. Daniela does everything, so I can only imagine how stressful it is. Also, I asked my good friend Brad. He's also field producer for the travel show and co-host for the late show, to be on here with us. We want the whole Bigfoot Odyssey family here. Our guests for this evening, two gentlemen that do need very little introduction, but I'm going to do it anyway. He is creator of the Confessionals podcast, available where podcasts are available, also available in the description. Tony, you're thinking it and he's saying it. Merkel, welcome to the show, Tony. Good to see you, buddy.
I forgot my applause button. Dang it.
Here you go.
Well, this is getting to be a tradition. Second year in a row that you've showed up here with us. And also with us, he is creator of Sasquatch Chronicles, available SasquatchChronicles.com, also available on YouTube. Mr. Wes Germer.
No, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. Rockstar ready to go.
But, it is absolutely awesome to have you here. We had 209 people entered the drawing, and of course, people had multiple entries. So I'm just going to call out some names right quick. That's actually why we started a little bit early. The 10 Lost Cryptids T-shirts. The winners are Elizabeth Roten, Jesse Naden, Miss Real Deal, Blake Evans, Cynthia Maresca, Kirk Cartman, Todd Riley, Sal Rodriguez, Al from Exclusive Design, and Phil Carnathan. You guys email me. We'll get you in contact with Lost Cryptids to get your T-shirts. 5 people won the John Adams CD. First was Chris Binkini, Paula Holland. There's a Paul Holland and a Paula Holland. This is Paula Holland. Congratulations, Paula. Al again from Exclusive Design won. Blake Evans again won a CD. Jeffrey Wilson. The Bigfoot Odyssey hoodie was won by Todd Sears. You guys know him as Strangeland. I just busted him out. The Dixie Cryptid stickers were won by Todd Riley. The battery bank was won by Mike Vaughn. The radios were won by Shane Bergeron. And we still have the Bigfoot trap, the 5 Dark Water subscriptions, the 2 Matt Larson camera classes, whatever Wes is going to give away, and the drone. And we'll do that at the end of the show. So stick around.
Congrats.
All right. Well, look, this is what we decided. I was talking to Wes on the phone earlier, and, big, bad Wes Germer, tough guy. He's, I wouldn't mess with him. But let me tell you how much of a nerd this guy is. I'm freaking out because I'm trying to upload the Shudder. I got this Shudder ready. It's 26-minute long video, 15 creepy stories, and it would not archive. I just couldn't find it. And I'm on the phone with Wes, and he has an iMac, and he said, "Oh, Kerry, just kick it out and throw it back through Chrome. Should work fine. It's probably your browser." That's what he said. What do you know? Worked perfect. So he's not just a tough guy and a pretty face. He's also a nerd. So
I know about those other 2 things. The third one's definitely true.
Well, I appreciate you, and all the Shudder fans obviously appreciate you, because there wouldn't be one tonight if you wouldn't have, because I'd have never figured that out. Forget about it. It's uploading now. It's at 88%, so it should be done tonight. I'm gonna set it up for probably around 9 or 10 Central tonight. The creepiest stories you ever heard. These are good ones. And we were also kind of wondering, what are we going to do? What are we going to talk about? Tell some scary stories. And, the whole week we had very little interaction with the chat. I mean, we get 1 or 2 questions in and that's it. So we're turning it over to you guys. The whole show is up to you. Whatever you guys want to ask away. Put your questions in caps. Daniela will put them up there and read them out, and we'll do our best to answer them. Like I said, we get about 10 minutes. 15 minutes toward the end of the show, we'll start drawing for the other prizes. So let's get it. Gnats. I have gnats.
Gnats.
That's why you don't see a pumpkin in here, because I left it in here. This is what happens when you carve your pumpkins 4 days before Halloween. They rot in South Mississippi. So Linda won that contest, by the way. Most people voted for the ghost. I did the face, the scary face, and Linda did the ghost face. And she actually won it by 2 votes. So I have to do the same thing I was going to do anyway, be wrong all the time, and
it's a good
still do whatever she tells me to do.
It's a good plan trying to put yours right at the front and Linda's right at the back. So really
Larry busted me out.
That was pretty funny.
Richie, Blake Evans won. Blake Evans won twice, actually. Yeah, like I said, your 1 entry is good for, of course, people put in multiple, but your 1 entry is good for everything, all the giveaways. So, and thank you all so much. Let me tell you what this did for us. You got us booked. We're booked for November 13th. We'll be in Oklahoma filming with Livewire. December 4th, we'll be in Florida filming with Mark and Melanie Zasky and Donnie Miller. So we got 3 travel shows coming up. Thanks to you all.
Got a question for
all right, Lethia B. Tony, what's the crazy experience you've heard? Craziest. Sorry, Danielle. I think over that.
Well, the craziest, it all depends on what category you want to talk about. But I mean, since it's Halloween and it's paranormal, my favorite episode that I've put out is episode 175. And I had a lady come on the show and she started sharing her experiences from her childhood of this torment that she was going through with these shadow entities. And as time went on, it escalated and escalated to the point where she's an adult and she's dealing with it, and she has a son in the house and her husband, and it's something that's becoming very common. Her husband's at work one night, and she is by herself, and things start kicking up again, and she's kind of like cuddled up in her bed, just trying to like hope it ends and goes away, and it's now out of the bedroom and down the hall I believe it was the living room. And I forget what she described as far as like how she knew where it was, other than what happens next. Something grabbed her and pulled her out of the bed, and not only out of the bed, but down the hall. And when she got into the living room is where she saw this entity up in, the way I pictured in my head, maybe she described it this way, but I picture a cathedral ceiling. It was like something like a tall ceiling, and it's something up in the ceiling, like almost like pasted against the ceiling. Like it's almost like holding onto the ceiling kind of thing, peering down at her. And it scared her so bad that she admitted right on the show that it made her go to the bathroom in her pants. And she was so scared, she called her husband and had him come home from his night shift job and deal with things. But it doesn't end there, because it seems like whatever this thing is has now attached itself to her son. And her son is in elementary school. And I guess in elementary school, they do the drawings, like kids do drawings and things like that. And he'll come home with drawings of an extra character in the family. And he'll be describing like, I think he drew a purple door or some kind of door. And she's like, what is that? And he's like, that's where the man comes through. And like blue lightning. And like, he's going through a lot of similar things, blue lightning in the house, I should say, but he's starting to go through a lot of similar things that he went through. And the thing is, like, you're sitting there and you're listening to her tell this story, and it's breathtaking, and you're sitting there, you're like, I don't know what to say to her. And so it was just one of those things where we talked plenty. And I basically tried to comfort her and tell her, I don't know what's going on, but I mean, because you've been through this your entire life, maybe it will help you help your son more. But she's contacted the show a couple times afterwards, giving us updates, and activity still continues. But the idea of something grabbing something, and I've had other people on the show talking about things pulling at them or pulling them off beds, but pulling her off the bed down the hallway, and there is where she saw this thing in the ceiling. It gives me the creeps big time.
How physical does it get in terms of in terms of damage? I mean, because dragging is one thing, but have people been seriously hurt?
Yeah. People, there's people that are, the traditional 3 scratches on the body to bruises. It seems like a lot of times it's more emotional than anything, but there are people who get physically hurt. I just interviewed a guy, I think it was last weekend, and I already know the name of the show, what I'm going to call it. I'm going to call it Demon Sex, because he went into describing his experiences as a kid, and it happened when he was a kid, and it just seemed normal, and he didn't know what was going on until he was an older guy, and he actually had sex for the first time, and he's like, that's what I had, and with whatever this was. And so I say that because I was talking to him about it, and I was like, so when this is going on, is this a very physical thing, or is it more on a spiritual level? And he's like, it was very, very physical, and it obviously was against his will. But it's not the first time I've had people say that to me. So though things, I've had another guy on the show where he was sleeping in the bed next to his wife, and he saw these 3 great, and this is where I think that a lot of these topics sometimes get, they kind of blur the lines a little bit. He's in his bedroom, and he sees these 2 gray entities at the bottom of his bed, and he described them as like grays, like alien type entities. But then as he describes what happened to him, it flies in the face of what you would think aliens are, because he said they started pulling him off the bed. Now, granted, his wife's right next to him, but they started pulling him off the bed, and he said at the same time that they were pulling him off the bed, it felt like they were pulling something out of him, almost like they had the ability to touch something more than just the physical. And he fought it off, and he I don't think he ever told his wife, though, if I remember correctly. To the point that I talked to him, he never told his wife exactly what happened. She woke up because he was yelling, but he never actually told her what actually happened. And I think that's something that goes with the territory. Some guys that some people don't want to tell the spouse and scare them, and then some other people are like, I gotta tell somebody.
Yeah, it's a good job you're there, isn't it? To be that ear to listen to those people.
Yeah.
Got one from Justin Baker for Wes. What's the scariest Sasquatch encounter in the past 10 years?
Oh, man. That one's tough. Claire's encounter, you guys hear in the intro of the show, she was in California. That one's pretty terrifying, where she was down there trying to get pictures. She's from the UK, was trying to get pictures of, I don't remember what she's trying to get pictures of, seals or something to that effect.
Sea otters.
Yeah, sea otters. That's right. Yeah, Danielle knows the show better than I do.
That's my favorite. That is it's 515, my favorite one.
And the fact that the creatures were communicating, and almost like the female was trying to stop the male from killing her, like they were having this weird argument. That one's pretty scary. I would say probably the most. It's weird. Over the last couple of years, I've talked to a lot of little kids, and for obvious reasons, I don't bring them on the air. I'm not going to bring on, like, the Bigfoot world's hard enough. I'm not going to subject an 8, 9, 10-year-old to come on the air and just get beat up.
Right.
But these kids, when they describe these creatures coming up to their window, they're very, very, very detailed on what they'll tell you. I mean, they'll tell you everything about the creature. And one thing that I find strange a lot of times, there was a 10-year-old girl I just talked to. She was talking about how she sees this creature and it wants her to come outside at night. It motions for her to come outside. And there was one time where it told her to come out and play. It'll be okay. Because she didn't want to go out there. She thought, obviously it's 2:00 in the morning. She's 10 years old. Didn't want to get in trouble. And she said that the creature told her it would be okay. Come on out and let's play. And I said, was a creature, did it say that to you? I mean, if it's through the window, how did you hear it? And she goes, that's just what I heard. And I've talked to a few adults. They're hard to get to come on the air, but there was one adult I was just talking to, and he has a lot of different encounters, but his uncle calls him in and feeds him, and has some weird relationship going on with him. Him and his uncle hardly ever talk, but when he was growing up on that property, he recalls several times where the creature would come up to the window when he's like 8, 9 years old. Remember back in the 80s when the pajamas that the kids used to wear, they were like full jumpsuits, and they had like the you know what I'm talking about, Danielle, like the feet and everything.
Yeah, like a onesie, I guess.
Yeah, like the onesie. And when he was probably 8, he said it still bothers him to this day, but he remembers bits and pieces of what happened to him. He remembers looking up at a female, and he woke up in his bed and he thought, God, that was a terrible dream. He remembers kind of walking through snow and then coming face to face and looking at this female creature, and he described her to me. He said the weird part is he thought it was all a bad dream until he woke up in the morning, and from his knees down, he was soaked, like he'd been out walking in the snow. And there was footprints from when his dad told him, thought he was sleepwalking, and which he could have been. It's just weird. He has this weird memory of running into this creature. But growing up, he would talk a lot about seeing this female come up to his window. She would tap her nails on the glass. I think those are probably the most scariest whenever it has to do with kids.
Yeah.
Because what's the intention? You know, like that little boy on the East Coast where a bear took care of him all night, according to him.
Right.
And sometimes you have to go with the kids' vocabulary, you know, with what's in their lexicon. And so they'll say bear man, monkey man. They'll use different terms like that. But, you know, I mean, most toddlers don't. I mean, Tony has toddlers right now. You would know if your kid left. You know what I mean? And it's weird how do these kids get out, you know? But I would say those are probably the most terrifying. You know, obviously there's aggressive ones. There's probably a bunch of others I could think of that they're not coming to mind at the moment. I think anytime I talk to little kids, because they're not afraid too, that's the other thing that bothers me. Most of these little kids don't react like adults do. You know, we freak out. We're like, there's a monster there. A lot of these little kids will sit and interact with whatever's coming up to their window. And the fact that we don't know really what Sasquatch is, you know, do you really want to interact with something you don't know anything about?
Right.
It's my opinion. Everyone
as far as the little kid is concerned, the 3-year-old, I just wonder if he wasn't interviewed by some wildlife officer that asked him if it was a bear. And then, okay, yeah, if someone didn't put that in his head to begin with, it wasn't just something that he came up with.
It could be. A lot of kids in their lexicon, they'll use terms like that. I've talked to a lot of little kids, and their parents aren't really. Some parents know what's going on, and they're unsure. Let me take that back. They know something's coming up to the window. They've seen evidence of it. They've seen footprints. They've seen, and they're not really sure what's going on. But a lot of little kids will use the term bear. It was a bear that came up to my window. And you ask them, well, tell me about this bear. What did this bear look like? And, you know, because they don't know Bigfoot, Sasquatch. A lot of these little kids don't know, you know, they'll say a monkey man, monkey bear. I've heard that several times.
Bigfoot Okanagan saw one when he was like 9, and he described it as a monkey playing on the back of a moose. Because he said, I didn't know what else to call it. Yeah. You know, he didn't know what a Bigfoot was.
Brad, you were like 9, weren't you? 9 or 10?
Yeah, I was. And yeah, I told my dad it was a black man because it would never get close to me, 40, 50 yards, and I would just catch glimpses of it and didn't understand what it was in the woods, and told my dad, and he said, it's, there's nobody in the woods. So I just kind of paid attention and didn't mention it until we both saw it.
Well, I thought it was a black guy when I saw it. I was 34 years old. And this is the whole problem with the subjects, is the complete and total lack of awareness for the general public. And that's, to me, the most important thing. It's what we do here. We push awareness. Wes, it's what Tony, it's what you guys do.
My son, he knows what Bigfoot looks like, at least according to pictures. Every time I have a Bigfoot up somewhere, he's like, Bigfoot. And I don't know where he picked it up from. I mean, I guess just being around me. I never really sat down and talked to him about this stuff, but I always worried about that conversation because, like I always fear the idea of a kid saying, Daddy, do monsters exist? I don't want to lie to the kid. But I don't think I have to do that conversation because every time I have some artwork in the office and one has a Bigfoot on it, and when he sees it, Bigfoot, and when he sees like the ghouly stuff, he gets scared of that too. So I gotta keep it away from him. He's only 3, so I actually covered it up with a family picture.
Well, I knew what a Bigfoot was. I knew exactly what a Bigfoot was, but it still wasn't a part of, it's not a part of your everyday paradigm, Wes. You didn't know what a Bigfoot was. I mean, you knew what a Bigfoot was, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I knew what Bigfoot was, but it's strange though. I think most people, when they think of Bigfoot, even kids or adults, they think of Patty, and that's generally not what people see. Like you were saying, an African American guy, a black guy. I've heard that from a lot of older people in the South, where it's a black guy on their property. Well, what's a guy running around on your property in the middle of the night? He throws rocks. He gets up on the roof. What? You know what I mean? But that's kind of what they're seeing. It's the skin tone, and it's upright on 2 feet. So it must be an African American guy running around on someone's property. But none of it makes any sense. And he started asking about vocalizations. None of it makes sense. And Sasquatch the facial features come in so many different varieties. Sometimes people say apes, chimps. Sometimes people say man, look like a Neanderthal.
I was having conversations with guys at work. I drive truck for a living. And one night I came back and I'm in the break room talking to the road drivers who were going out for the night. And, we were talking about Bigfoot because the guys know, I talk about this kind of stuff. And I'm in Pennsylvania, and this one guy, he was like, I don't believe in any of that stuff. And I was just like, oh, is that right? And, I was kind of just picking his brain a little bit, like conversation. And he's like, I'll tell you though. And this is in front of a bunch of guys. He's like, I saw something really strange when I was younger. Me and my friends were in central Pennsylvania, and we were driving out in the middle of nowhere. He's from he's from West Virginia. So he's got a real strong accent. And he's like, and then all of a sudden I'm in the back seat and a monkey ran across the road. And I looked at him, I was like, a monkey? And he's like, yeah, it was a monkey out in the middle of central Pennsylvania. And I looked at him, I was like, you sure it was a monkey? And he's like, and he goes, what else could it be? I'm like, dude.
Just told you. That's the level of disbelief in this whole thing.
Oh, that's funny. That's good.
I saw a few roll by.
Well, yeah, I'll throw this out to anybody. What do you think the lifespan is of a Sasquatch? And could Patty still be alive?
I better not. I was gonna spin some conspiracy theories about Patty, but I won't. I hear it's a touchy subject these days. So
I don't think. Oh, go ahead. Whoever.
I mean, the lifespan, I never really even thought about that, to be honest with you. I imagine the lifespan could be, what's the lifespan of a bear? I mean, I guess it would matter depending on the how much they're able to eat and stuff. I don't know. That's a good question.
I want to say Earth sign is like 25 years. Well,
didn't in Janice Carter's book, weren't they talking about that, I believe his name was Fox, that was it her dad or her grandfather had been feeding him since the 50s, and her experience, lasted through the 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, I didn't read the book, but I've heard, so many other things. I've heard plenty of experts say 150 years are twice as long as we live, until we get a type specimen or several type specimens.
How do you think that would work with population then? If they were going 150 years, do you think that they just don't breed as much, or do you think that there's more than what we anticipate?
Oh, I think there's a million of these things out there myself, but that's just me. I ask this question a lot when people bring numbers out. Someone had a very exact number one time, and it was 63,000. And I was like, well, how did you come up with this number? And they went by county. And I was like, well, okay, fair enough. How many white-tailed deer are there in the United States? Just in the lower 48. Don't look it up. Just give me your guess. How many do you think there are? And he said, I was probably about 5 million. Well, there's almost 10 times that. That's how vast the United States is. There's actually about 35 to 38, depending on the year and the season and hunters, and million just whitetail deer. That's not counting every other kind of deer that's out there. That's just whitetail deer. And how often do you see one of them, even when you're hunting for them? So if there can be 35 million whitetail deer, why can there be 1 million Sasquatch in the United States? That's how I see it. To me, it's not a very big number considering the size of the United States and their relative ability to obviously stay hidden from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those things no one really knows. We don't even know what Sasquatch is to guess how many there are or how long.
There might be 100.
It's so hard to tell. One thing that is strange, I did talk to a guy one time. He went out to a property. He knew a lady that claimed to have these things on her property, and he went out there, and he ended up, it was his first sighting. It was on this property, and he said the thing that he ran into, he said it was weird. It was like this. It was this thing's home. It would mope or it would run around on her property all the time. She would feed it, and he said it was about 8 feet tall and probably 700-800 pounds. And she's like, "Oh, he's a little one. He's only 8 years old," because she claimed she'd been feeding him for the last 8 years, and he was huge. But it's so hard to know. We don't even know. No one can answer what Sasquatch is, for sure. So it's hard to say how long they live.
Yeah, the science is definitely still out on a lot of the questions we have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Great question, though. I mean, it's a fair question.
Rich Evans. Sorry.
I just said it's always good to speculate.
Oh, sorry about that. Episode 11. Did you hear from those brothers again? Are they the two brothers?
Was that from the Siege? The guys from the Siege? Was that episode 11? I don't remember. I think
the
Siege.
That was an early episode.
And if he's talking about that one, they don't live on that property anymore. They've all left that property and it's been sold. The guy who bought it did contact me and said that there's definitely activity on that property. But those guys don't live there anymore, as far as I know. It was years ago they moved.
Guys, you'll have to put your questions up again because they've just disappeared because there's so many.
They roll through pretty quick.
Yeah, that was the Siege.
If I've missed anything, put them up again. Right, let me see.
I saw a question about the rake. Oh, sorry.
Oh yeah, the rake was.
You could throw that one back.
That was Andy gone fishing. I'll find it. Wes and Tony, how often do you hear stories you're not allowed to share?
It just happened this past Tuesday. The show we aired this past Tuesday was a show I was holding on to. I did the interview, and I remember sitting during the interview. I was like, "This is freaking good." And I get off the phone with them, and I put it in the archives. And like a day or two later, he emailed me, and we discussed before the show about his fears of talking about this stuff, and then activity kicking up again. And sure enough, after we talked, things kicked up. And so I told him, I made a note on the file, and I told him, just let me know if you ever wanted it to air, if it's all good and stuff. And I came across his name like a year later, a couple months ago. And I just shot him a text and I said, "Hey man, how's things been going?" And he said that he was planning on moving. And once he moves, if things calm down for him, he'd be good with it airing. And then that fell through, and he just kind of gave me the green light. He said, "Just go ahead and do it." And I was like, "You sure? I'm not going to ask twice." and I released it. But yeah, I mean, that was an interview that I was holding on to for a while because of things happening. I don't think I've ever had a time where I did an interview, and after the interview, somebody asked me just not to air it because, whatever. It happened a couple of times, and it's usually because things happen after the interview sometimes. Fortunately for me, I've been pretty golden here at the house. I do these interviews all the time, and I haven't had really too much stuff happen. I've had some weird things, but nothing as crazy as the show, thank God, or else I may not be doing the show. I'd be like, I'm done. I'm out. I'm checking out.
Yeah, I would say for me, I don't generally I won't interview someone unless they don't want to be interviewed. But like this week, I've probably talked to 30 people. And you'll hear 3 of them on the show. 2 of them were on a member show, and 1 will be on the public show. A lot of people don't want to have their name out there or want it shared publicly. A lot more people don't want their information out there, or want to come on the show than what you actually hear on the show.
Yeah, usually if you hear somebody's name is Steve on my show, it's because we made it up.
Unless it's actually Steve. What I get a lot of, and this is where the late show comes from for us, is of course my phone number, my Bigfoot phone number is out there on our website. I'll get a call or a text, someone has a story, and they just want to tell their story. They don't want to come on the show, and I'm trying to talk them because they're really great, and I'm trying to talk them in. Come on, you got to come on. You don't have to show your face. We won't put your name on there. I'm putting all the trying to beg them to come on, and I've had to do several that way. But they just want to tell you their story. This is what happened to me. They want someone to believe them, and I think that's why they do it. A lot of it.
Yeah,
if you had your number out there more, they would do it.
I think you're right, Kerry. I think most people just want. People have encounters and they even tell their family members, and even family members kind of goof on them or make fun of them, or, friends and family are going to make fun of you. A stranger's going to make fun of you. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I'm relating with what you're saying. I mean, I just talked to a guy 2 hours ago, and he goes through his experiences, and I knew part of his experiences was actually pursuing witchcraft as a possible answer to his problems, and he just kind of briefly touched on like and I pursued witchcraft, and then yesterday the snow, he just really didn't touch on it. And so after he was done talking and stuff, I brought it back up, and him and I wound up talking for 20-30 minutes on the show about him pursuing witchcraft and what does that mean to him and how does he go about doing it and stuff. And then afterwards we were talking after the recording, and he's like, I didn't think you were going to bring that up because of who you are, because he knew I was a Christian, things like that. I said, dude, I don't care. I don't care. Like I'll talk to you about anything. It doesn't mean I have to agree with you. But it was just one of those things where people kind of sometimes will censor themselves, and it's interesting. It's very interesting dealing with people on a weekly basis, and you get a different character every person you talk to, and it's just interesting how they perceive you sometimes when they talk to you for the first time. Like when he answered the phone, he's like, "Hello, sir. Hello, sir." I'm like, first off, let's just stop with the sir crap, like I'm Tony. So
yeah, cool. Did he have any bad experiences with the witchcraft?
Did he?
Yeah,
he had no. I kind of talked to him about, I mean, there was some personal stuff that him and I talked about after the interview that kind of shed a lot of light, actually, to be honest with you, that I wish I could share publicly, but it's more sensitive stuff. But as far as publicly speaking, no, he had he started, and this was the interesting thing with him is most people who pursue witchcraft or something, they learn it from somebody, or it's in the family, or they join a coven or something like that. They're in it as a community. There's somebody they're learning from. He just thought witchcraft might be an answer, and he started reading books and started learning and teaching himself. He's not a part of any organization, and he does binding spells. And I asked him, I said, do you think that the activity in your life is either a result of this, or more importantly, do you think the idea of you pursuing witchcraft is a result of the activity in your life? And he didn't really have a good answer for some of that stuff. But yeah, I asked him, what did I ask him? I forget now. But yeah, he had some, some of the, I guess the bad experiences would be where he did a spell, but he did something he didn't intentionally mean to do. Where I guess one of his friends had a really bad attitude, and he did some kind of spell to kind of keep his attitude and stuff away from him, and it wound up making his friend even worse and like standoffish. And he didn't say this, but I gathered this idea that his friend became very depressed and kind of stepped back from people in general. And I guess that's a bad experience that he didn't intend. Like he doesn't try to, like he says, he doesn't try to do anything malicious. But I mean, if anybody casts a spell on me, I'm like, bro, that's malicious to me. Like,
I must have like no ambition in life to get into. I mean, that sounds like too much work. I like to watch The Mandalorian.
Hey, look. Why would you do anything you're not positive the outcome is going to be what you want it to be? That this could go awry, but I'm going to try it anyway, just in case. I think, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, wow. And some of the things I can't share because of off air kind of culminated to that point, but
It's just
You
the
know-
5 of us. You can go ahead and share it.
But I mean, I can tell you that him and his mom and his dad, when his mom was pregnant with him, they were playing with a Ouija board. And then these entities started popping up throughout his childhood into his adult life. And his mom dated a witch at one point. His mom wears crystals, and because I know that because he mentioned about how one time his mom was having a hard time, and he blessed her crystal to try helping her. So it seems like throughout his life, he was surrounded by this kind of stuff, whether he acknowledged it or not, and that might have led to him pursuing this as a logical option, you know? And I said to him after the show and stuff, I said, dude, like, I don't agree with you on that stuff, but we can still talk and have that conversation. Him and I talked for about an hour or so afterwards, and it got really deep. And in fact, I really wish people could have heard what the conversation was, because I think a lot of people would have gained from it, but it's too personal. He doesn't want that being aired.
I do want to say this right quick. No one here is going to answer any questions about any other researchers. Sorry. It's just,
I don't know any.
Yeah, it's just one of those things. It causes dissension, and it can cause resentment. So all the researchers that I know, and I'm sure that Wes and Tony and Danielle and Brad know, we're glad they're out there doing what they're doing. Absolutely. I'll speak for everybody here on that one.
Yeah, it's a waste of time anyway. Who cares?
Well, Wes and I actually had to redo a show because of that. So. Funny.
And they gone fishing. What are folks seeing when they describe Hatman?
Is that a question for me?
I think so, probably.
Your guess is as good as mine. No, it's interesting because the Hat Man is one of those characters that pop up on my show a lot, and my wife has even seen the Hat Man, and it's one of those things where it seems like it's either a very peaceful experience or it's kind of scary and malicious, and it seems to happen to a lot of people as kids. I don't know what that is all about, but a lot of times people will describe this thing as wearing a fedora or a top hat, and it appears. And a lot of times, to be honest with you, a lot of times these stories are, I saw it. Like it was haunting them in the sense that they saw it, or it was peeking around the corner at them night after night, or standing in the corner of the room. It's very rare that I hear a lot of people, or I shouldn't say a lot, that's kind of oxymoron. It's very rare I hear people say that they had a Hat Man encounter that turned violently scary, you know? But it's interesting because when you hear them describe the Hat Man, if you took the hat off the Hat Man, it would be described as any other entity. But it's the fact that this thing is wearing the same style hat, and sometimes they'll talk about the attire being very old attire, or sometimes even was it like a duster or blazer it'd be wearing. I don't know what this thing is, but it appears all over the world, and to the point that it's gotten a name, the Hat Man. It's kind of like what people now are starting to call the mirrored men. It's starting to pop up a lot more, and people are just. I think I had a guy recently talk to me about the mirrored men. That episode will be coming up here in a few months, I think. But yeah, it's interesting though. Like it seems like when people have these experiences, and because we have podcasts now that people can, like back in the day, the only ghost stories you had were the ones in the books that you rented from the library or what you saw on Discovery Channel, and those are edited and censored. Now you have podcasts where we bring people on, those people that they interview for the TV that are produced and edited down and stuff for TV friendly stuff. Now we give them a platform where they have an hour just to tell their story, and it allows people to hear other people's experiences. And the more people are hearing these Hat Mans, more people are coming forward and saying, and over time it becomes the thing where it actually gets a name. But yeah, I find it interesting. That's why we talk about it.
I was just talking to actually, I don't know how much he wants me to say this, but I'm gonna say it anyway. Matt Larson was telling me he had heard me mention Hat Man one time, and went back to him when he was like 7 or 8 years old in his room, and remember seeing, and had this whole story about it. I can't remember the whole thing, but it was this white cowboy, just all black, just like a cutout, leaning on his dresser with a hat on, and several of his friends were asking his mom the next morning, where did the guy with the hat go? And then the next kid comes in and it's got like a sleepover. Where did the guy with the hat go?
In the group.
Yeah, there was like 3 or 4 of them that actually saw it. Yeah,
that's interesting, because usually you hear the solo encounters. To hear a group do it, that's very interesting.
We'll have to get Matt to tell us that one night.
Seems like Batman's like a shadow man, isn't it? I mean,
yeah.
Except has a hat on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like like I said, like the mirrored men. I mean, the reason why it got that name is because it's 3 identical entities doing the exact same thing together. Is what they call it, the mirrored man. But that's starting to pop up a lot because of podcasts. People will start sharing their personal encounters and like, oh, I saw that too. You know, I'm not crazy. So yeah, I mean, I think the Hat Man is a shadow entity that pops up with this hat. It's interesting. But yeah, my wife saw one. Well, she hates when I say where we live, but not far from where we live is a town she grew up in, and it was an old farmhouse. And when she was a little kid, her mom left to go to the CVS or something to get some medicine because she was sick. And when she was laying there on the couch by herself, this Hat Man appeared in the doorway, and she was terrified. And she never talked about it until my show, really. Episode 3. If you want to hear some stories from my wife, episode 3, I think we talked for over an hour, and she just laid out all these ghost stories. And I'm like, whoa. Well, this should have been before we got married. You tell me these things. But yeah, I mean, she had some interesting experiences for sure.
Isn't it kind of weird how entities show up in different forms? Kind of like the rake. I think the rake is demonic. Let me crank up my mic. I don't know if my mic's down. I think the rake is demonic, but I don't know. And I've had a lot of people encounter the rake and even chase them. Never really seems to catch anyone. Never really seems to hurt anyone. But it seems like it feeds off of your fear. But it's weird seeing, you hear these accounts of the rake and then now this Hat Man, and it's weird why these entities show up in different forms. Why not just show up in one form? You know what I mean?
Well, that'd be going from the standpoint of these entities come from the same place or they're the same thing. I mean, a lot of people would say that they're not. Like just the simple demon and ghosts. I mean, that's a very distinct 2 separate things that people would say they are. Not everybody. I understand that some people believe that all ghosts are demons, but the idea of a ghost being a dead spirit or a spirit of a dead person versus a demon, something that crawled out of hell. So I think that it all depends on how you view things. And that's why I said earlier, I mean, the lines get blurry here. I mean, especially when we start talking about this stuff. I mean, what the rake does is very similar to what we see aliens do. They seem to be interdimensional. They seem to want to come after you. They kind of look like aliens at times. We hear about stories when I say aliens, you're thinking what? You're thinking Greys, but we hear stories of these aliens that they don't look like Greys. Some people say that they're alien entities that look like us. Some look like a giant praying mantis. I mean, it's just there's so many. I've learned so much from the people that are on my show. Like I've learned just by hearing their stories.
Do you guys think, and this is a question for everyone, do you think that some of these ghosts aren't really ghosts or demons or dead spirits, but kind of a breakdown in the fabric of time? Because sometimes you'll hear these accounts. I had a guy on the show one time, and he used to see these 2 little girls walking to school, and they looked like they were dressed from like the late 1800s, and they were doing the exact same. They'd never interact with them. They'd walk down this road, and then they would kind of vanish, and they would do the same thing over and over and over again, and same movements, same everything. And he had found out later that 2 girls had been murdered back in the late 1800s. But it made me wonder, is it really ghosts that people are seeing, or is there some sort of weird matrix rip in time to where it's like a projector that gets stuck and it's keep playing that same thing over and over and over again?
I think 2 things could be true at the same time. I think you could have that and the other. I think when it comes to rake and demons, that it's all about fear. Whatever form is going to scare that person the most is the form that these creatures are going to take on. I told a friend of mine's dad back in the early 90s saw a rake at a rest stop in Macomb, Mississippi. I told this on the Shudder. It's Terror at the Rest Stop. It's one of the scary. He shot the thing. It's one of the scariest things I ever heard in my life, and I heard it probably 30 times. I can't even. I don't think so. I think he just shot it and was pretty sure he hit it and just got in his car and took off. But as he was leaving, there was an 18-wheeler parked at the edge of the rest stop with its door open and no one in it. He looked as he was going by. So I don't know what happened to that guy. What was strange is he heard kids laughing. He heard kids. He was in the room. He heard kids laughing. Comes out, looks around, doesn't hear anything, goes to one side, looks out, doesn't see anything, goes to go around the other side, and I feels something, I guess, stops and turns around, and there it is right behind him, like 8 feet tall, long clawed fingers. And I mean, he took off running, went to his car, grabbed his gun. I can't remember. Did he?
You know what's weird about the rake creature? Do you notice that people don't see it just once? They'll generally see it a second time.
I had a guy. Well, Wes, you know the guy I'm talking about. We did a live show with him in Houston. Him and his friend saw 2 of them together, walking up a hillside in Texas, broad daylight, and so that kind of plays in with what you just said.
No, he turned around then and shot the thing. That's right. He went to his car and got the gun first because he kept hearing this girl screaming in the woods. He thought some girl was being attacked. That's when he went back. Couldn't see anybody. Goes around, then turns around. There it is. And that's when he shot several times and then ran to his car. Got the hell out of there. So, excuse my language.
So, Wes, you brought up the Matrixy simulation. And since we're on this show, I think a lot of people would be obviously people know about Missing 411. I know a guy, his name's Mike from the OBDM pod. And he had an interesting theory on 411. He approaches it from the simulation perspective, like you just brought up the simulation. He said in video games, when a character wanders too far off track, the video game will pick up the character and put it back on its path because the developers of the game couldn't find, there's no reason to develop such a deep forest for one character that doesn't even belong there. And he theorizes the idea that if we live in a simulation, if people go too far off the path, instead of creating a simulated reality for that one character in this simulation, they'd rather just delete the character out of the simulation. I was like, oh, that is crazy. I never thought about that. It's kind of trippy when you think about it. I mean, it doesn't fit every 411 story, but the idea of it, I was like, wow, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Then how would Google Maps work with that scenario?
I don't know.
All I do is drink, so that's where.
I didn't say there weren't huge holes in the thing.
Yeah, I know. I'm just being
gaping holes in there. Let's see. We got about 13 minutes left. Let's give some stuff away. Let's do this.
Brent just sent me this image just so people know.
All right. Well, we have.
That's awesome.
The Bigfoot trap. That's going to be the first thing we draw for right now. So, Wes, are you ready?
I'm ready. I'll show it to everyone.
Look it up. I got the list with everybody's name and corresponding number, and it is 272. 272. Check your list, Wes. I've got Todd Sears.
Oh, again,
Todd Sears.
Yeah, I'd go buy a lottery ticket.
Like, I know, right? Like I said, some people have multiple entries in, so it's not all on the same number. But congratulations, Todd. You won the Paranormal Portal Bigfoot trap, and I wonder if it works. Let us know.
Yeah.
For sure. All right, next up. Todd Sears down there. Let's do the Matt Larson classes.
I'll stop it.
What?
Go ahead.
Do you
want a picture? You want me to go ahead and do it?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's the only
we'll do the two Zoom classes. Matt Larson put in 76. Mike Singletary. Mike Singletary. Congratulations, Mike Singletary. You get to learn how to use a camera with a Zoom class. And all you guys email me, okay, for this information. All right, we got one more class to give away.
That's not Mike Singletary from the Chicago Bears, is it?
I always ask the same thing. I never get a positive answer on that. Congratulations, Mike. No doubt. Thank you, Brent. Hey, and anybody that hasn't gone and subscribed to Paranormal Portal, have a great show. They're going to have one tonight, as a matter of fact, 9:00 p.m. Central. their Halloween special. It's professional, and you hear good stories on there, and it's a good camaraderie in that chat. So make sure you subscribe to Paranormal Portal. We'll put a link in the description after the show. All right, next up, we'll do. Got one more of those to give away. You ready?
What was it that you're giving away? I didn't hear that.
It's a Zoom class on how to use your camera equipment. Perfect for Matt Larson is a professional photographer. He's done it his entire adult life, went to school for it. Watch his videos, you'll see how clear everything is. Yeah, and he'll teach you how to use your iPhone also. All right, this is the other Zoom class, 3:30. 3:30 is Francis Bono. Francis Bono, congratulations.
Congrats, Francis.
All right. I hope you guys remember these. I'll come back and watch it again. Okay, next up, we've got 5 drawings for Dark Waters subscriptions. Dark Waters threw in 5 subs. So you ready, Wes?
I'm ready. Here we go.
We got 5 of these to do.
I feel like Vanna White.
391. 391.
You don't have the legs, dude.
Well, I'm not wearing pants.
Well, there you go. There you go.
391. Stephanie Perez. Congratulations, Stephanie Perez. You won a 1-year subscription to Dark Waters.
Very cool.
Very cool. We got 4 more of those to give away. 295. Oh, you're keeping them kind of in there together. That's cool. 295 is Casey Gallerini. Congratulations. I tried to marry Casey Gallerini. Congratulations. It didn't work. Congratulations, Casey. You have a 1-year subscription to Dark Waters.
Dark Waters got a cool show too.
3 more. Come on, let's do it. Keep rolling. 132. 132 is Mariah Pearson. Mariah Pearson, congratulations. Is that 3? That's 3 of those, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, 2 more. 23. 23 is James Shelby. Congratulations, James Shelby. 1 more.
All right, here we go.
Uno más. And it is 408. 408. 408 is Cynthia Maresca. Cynthia Maresca, congratulations. You have a 1-year subscription. If I'm calling out your name here, email me so I can get the information to Dark Waters for you, and he'll send you everything you need. All right, Wes. All we have left is what you're going to give away and the drone. So what are you going to toss out there?
I'll throw a membership in and a I don't know, coffee cup, I guess, sweatshirt. Ask them to email you. They want a coffee cup or sweatshirt. I'll throw in a membership though too as well. I'll do 3 of them.
Oh, fantastic!
That's nice.
Here we go. There we go. 183.
183. This is for a membership to Sasquatch Chronicles. They probably already have one. Murray Fisher. Congratulations, Murray. I think he's actually here. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of these are here. 183, Murray Fisher. Congratulations. You won a subscription to Sasquatch Chronicles and either a hoodie or a mug.
Yeah, or both or whatever. It don't matter.
Both or whatever. Just make sure you guys email me.
When you email Carrie, send your size too as well. And if you want to zip up or pull over. Here's the next one.
Great gifts here. 234. 234. 234. 234. Wonder Woman. Miss Kathy. Wonder Woman. Congratulations. You just won.
Perfect timing.
Yeah, I know, right? You just actually won one there, Wonder Woman, 234. And if anybody wants to see my list here, you're welcome to see it also, because I don't know if anybody can actually. No, we've tried this before. It doesn't work. One more. You going to do one more? And then we'll give away the drone. 358. 358. 358. Leanne Green, congratulations. You just won a subscription to Sasquatch Chronicles and a hoodie and a mug, or both. All right, make sure you guys email me with your sizes, and I'll get with Wes and give him your information. So awesome. Thank you all so much. And the coup de grace, the drone. This is a Phantom 4, slightly used, but still in perfect condition. It's got a brand new lower unit on it, brand new 4K camera, an extra camera is going to come with it. 4 batteries come with it. The carbon fiber blades. It's got a bunch of lenses. It's a cool drone. And whoever wins this, I will give you a tutorial if you don't already know how to fly it better than me, which is probably a lot of people.
All right, here we go.
For the drone.
472, Wes Germer.
Congratulations, Wes Germer. You only had 1 entry in too. Wow. I just heard about 414 people start cussing.
Here we go.
Here we go. This is for the drone. This is for the drone.
Ooh,
45.
Whoa.
Oh, you went up there. And the winner is Roxanne Correes. Roxanne Correes bought 1 entry.
How cool.
445. Congratulations, Roxanne. I hope you live in the United States, because it's going to be expensive to ship otherwise. But let us know. And the shipping is sponsored by Vermont Art Supply. You'll be able to find a link in the description to Vermont Art Supply for all you artists out there. Go to Vermont Art Supply. A lot of good deals there. They're actually going to ship this thing out. So, Roxanne, email me. Congratulations. You just won about $2,000 worth of drone. And that's it. That's all we got. Of course, we drew the t-shirts and stuff earlier. So I think it was last 24 prizes we gave away tonight. So
I thought you had some Dixie Cryptid stickers.
Oh my goodness. I'm gonna, yeah, let's do that. We'll do 4 Dixie Cryptid stickers to 2 different people.
All right, ready?
Let's do that.
And if Roxanne, you want to trade that drone for the price?
Yeah, for some Dixie Cryptid stickers, I'm sure they'll. 257. 257. Who's going to get some stickers from the man, the storyteller himself? 257.
Yeah, 257.
It's not on here. Oh yeah, it is. That's Al at Exclusive Design. Congratulations, Al. You got some Dixie Cryptid stickers. We'll put those in with the CD you won already. And let's do one more.
All right.
Finally, we have 245. 245. Donna Williams. Dixie Cryptid stickers. Congratulations to all the winners. Thank you all so much for donating. We've got 3 travel shows coming up, and we're able to do quite a bit with that. So myself and Brad will be going to Oklahoma on the 13th of November to film with Livewire. Mr. Mark Copeland, we're going to tell his whole story. Then we're going to head down to Florida on December the 4th and do 2 shows with Donnie Miller and Crypto Reality. That Crypto Reality one is going to be something.
They're all going to be good.
Yeah, they're all going to be good. Absolutely. Just the stuff that the story that Mark Copeland has is incredible. Plus all the evidence that he's got. They're going to be good. So, man, I'm kind of bummed it's all over with and relieved at the same time. So
let me jump in here real quick if I can.
Jump in.
Over on, and we're going to put this link in the place wherever Kerry puts links.
Yes.
The John Wayne Cancer Foundation is doing a fundraiser, not a fundraiser, it's actually a silent auction. But what it entails is John Wayne's granddaughter, Jennifer Wayne, is in the band Runaway June. And they're a country band, and they opened for Carrie Underwood last year. And they were supposed to open for Luke Bryan this year, and then COVID knocked that out. But they put together a mini concert that is in correlation with the John Wayne Cancer Foundation. And how this all came about is a buddy of mine who started Duke Spirits, which is right here.
You're friends with John Wayne's kids, aren't you?
Well, with Ethan Wayne, yes.
Yeah.
And then his partner is a good friend of mine by the name of Chris. Well, they are having some John Wayne stuff up for a silent auction, and everything goes to the John Wayne Cancer Foundation. which, you know, they were real instrumental in some discovering some stuff with in reference to breast cancer treatment, as well as melanoma treatment, of which I actually have had before. But if y'all, we'll have this link in the description. If you can go over there, you can see the concert by Runaway June. And if you want to bid on a silent auction for 100% of the proceeds go to the John Wayne Cancer Foundation, please do.
Well, Brad, I know your wife had breast cancer. I lost my mother to it, and so we were happy to announce this here tonight. Absolutely.
And thank you guys for letting me jump in real quick.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we have absolutely come to the end of our show. There's a lot more coming out there. I think Mogollon Monster is going to be going live tonight. Paranormal Portal's going live tonight. A lot of stuff to do on YouTube. If you don't have anything better to do, like trick or treat or go roll somebody's yard, I'm going to sit out front with my pistol and hope somebody comes to roll mine. So everybody, Wes,
Happy Halloween, you filthy pagans.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Tony. Good to see you as always. Daniela, fantastic job as you always do. I think we're not going to be here tomorrow night, Brad. We're going to take a break. So we'll be back Wednesday with the Researchers Report, 7:00 p.m. Central. Happy Halloween, everybody. Congratulations to all the winners.
Stay safe.
Good night, everybody.